Hello, welcome back. I'm Statman Dave, and today we're going to be taking a look at how Conte's 3-5-2 at Inter Milan could end Juve's dominance in Serie A with Coral. Make sure to subscribe if you are new, like that goddamn video, and turn the notification bell on. Do that right now. Anyway, let's get this party started. Since returning to Serie A with Inter Milan, Antonio Conte has picked up where he left off when he was manager at Juventus. Like at Juve, Conte has used the 3-5-2 as his main system at Internazionale. Their striking resemblances, such as three competent ball players in defence, with one main ball-playing centre-back. At Juve, it was Bonucci, who played in the centre of the three, whilst at Inter, it's Stefan de Vrij. Under Conte, de Vrij is the centre-back that looks to break the lines with passes into midfield, but the outside centre-backs, Skriniar and Godin, aren't afraid to play expansive and carry the ball out of defence. The difference with the outside centre-backs, instead of playing through like de Vrij, they look to play into the channels or step out and join attacks in long spells of possession. Conte's wing-backs are largely of what you would expect. Asamoah plays on the left, whilst there's a bit of a toss-up depending on opposition on the right. Against tougher tests, Conte favours Danilo D'Ambrosio as a more defensive option, whilst against those weaker sides, when Inter see more of the ball, Antonio Candreva steps in. If Inter can't regain possession through their man-to-man press, they drop back into a 5-3-2, with the wing-backs protecting the outside centre-backs. And as you'd expect from a Conte team, Inter are pretty good on the counter-attack. If they win the ball back, the two strikers act as outballs, and then on the break, the strikers are joined by a central midfielder and one of the wing-backs. In the defensive transition as well, Conte's personality shines through, as Inter's first priority is getting men back into the defensive shape, which means that they're difficult to break on as they return into that shape very, very quickly and add more numbers than their opponents have attackers. But in possession, the wing-backs are tasked with holding the width. Inter's main method of direct progression is direct passes and layoffs through the lines. They do this all over the pitch, from centre-back into 8, lay off to number 6, then 6 into the striker and again laying off to the 8. This direct passing quickly breaks lines and is difficult for opponents to stop. Line-breaking passes also turns defenders, meaning the attackers can then run off their blind side into the space. That first pass is often fired through and difficult to react to, which turns defenders and lets attackers progress through the middle. This pattern of play, the direct ball and then the layoff, is a direct method of chance creation. Inter attack in a 3-3-4, with either both wing-backs joining the front four or a wing-back and a midfielder. In possession, Inter can create centrally through the direct through balls for the strikers, or when they're closer to goal, a direct pass from deep, a layoff to an attacker, and then link. In fact, Lukaku's debut goal against Lecce came through this. The ball is loose, Brozovic fires it into Lukaku, who tees up Martinez to shoot from range. His shot is spilled, Lukaku follows up and puts the ball into the back of the net. Inter in possession are good at keeping the ball moving, but this direct link-up can quickly switch the tempo, with Brozovic in defensive midfield operating as a deep-lying playmaker and 8 in Sensi and Barella all capable of finding these passes. You just can't switch off against Conte's Inter. Another method of chance creation in their back three system, of course, is through crosses. Inter look to get 1v1s out wide through direct switches of play from defensive midfield, as shown by Lukaku's goal in the Milan Derby. From right centre-back, Godin fires the ball out to Barella, who is 1v1 with Conte. Barella crosses the ball and Lukaku, of course, heads it in. Alternatively, if Inter are within shooting range, they're very much encouraged to shoot if there's not much on. In fact, no team in Serie A has scored more goals from outside the box this season than Conte's Inter. What's really interesting about Inter's main selection is that there are several different angles for creativity. Not only have you got at least 2 creative players in midfield, either in Sensi, Barella and Brozovic, as well as creativity from former wingers playing wing-backs in Candreva and Asamoah, as well as 2 strikers looking to combine, playing 1-2s and one creating shooting opportunities for the other. This spread of creativity is supported by the stats. Per game in Serie A this season, Sensi has created 2.2 chances, Asamoah 2, Lukaku 1.3, Brozovic 1.2, and Candreva, Politano and Barella all with 1 per game. Serie A looks to be in for its most exciting title race since Sarri's Napoli pushed Juve right to the edge. And I think Inter could go one step further. If you want to get involved with the Serie A title race, then Coral have got some great odds for you. At the time of recording, Juve are still favourites, with Inter backed at around 3-1. Remember, if you want to get involved, link in the description below, but gamble responsibly. You've got to be over the age of 18 and terms and conditions apply on the Coral website. Conte seems to have taken his Juventus 3-5-2 from the 2012-13 season, with a midfield trio of Pirlo, Pogba and Marchisio as the blueprint for Internazionale. The back three we mentioned before, two capable ball players on the outside with an excellent passer in the centre. The wing-backs Asamo and Lichtsteiner operating simple, providing the width in the final third and putting crosses into the box, whilst dropping back into a back five out of possession. At Inter, Conte's got Asamoah on the left again, but there's a lack of an out-and-out right wing-back. Candreva seems to have his go against those weaker teams, but there's questions over his defensive capabilities. But if, of course, he performs that attacking side really well, he's going to be a standout player for Inter this season. The midfield trio at Juve, of course, Pirlo playing as a deep line playmaker, Pogba as a Mazzala, and Marchisio, a playmaker blended with a ball winner, the perfect combination. And if more steel was needed, Conte could call on Arturo Vidal as a true ball winner. At Inter, he's very much built a midfield with those roles. Brozovic sits as a playmaker deep in midfield, Sensi as a Mazzala, and Barella in the Marchisio role, a ball winner with a lot of guile as well. He's even got Gagliardini to bring in as the true ball winner, pretty much mirroring what Vidal did at Juve. But his first choice midfield three are tasked with more to do than his Juve trio. Brozovic is a lot more all action than Pirlo. He wins 3.2 tackles per game, more than any other Inter player, and a lot more than Pirlo averaged in his time under Conte, when deployed alongside a Mazzala in Pogba. Sensi is the Mazzala at Inter. He also has more of a free role than Pogba under Conte. The Italian gets more involved with helping to dictate the play, often dropping into the left wing-back position to create situations for 1-2s, before roaming in search of pockets of space to operate in. But when he gets into the final third, he's a lot more productive than Pogba was in his one season under Conte. Sensi contributes to 4.9 shots to Inter's attack per game, compared to Pogba's 3.4. Brozovic is often the midfielder that steps out, often when the defensive midfielder receives the ball with a back to goal. At this point, Barella or Gagliardini rock back to cover Brozovic. But different opposition can see Conte adapt that midfield shape and aggressor. Against AC Milan, Inter went man-to-man in central midfield. It was Sensi who stepped onto Biglia, Brozovic on Chiesi and Barella on Çalhanoğlu, completely killing the Rossoneri's possession play in midfield. Key to this flexibility is that the right central midfielder, whose role can often be overlooked, they're always the player to cover if Inter are caught in possession when they're building up. Brozovic will go to win the ball, whilst the right central midfielder will fill in centrally. And if Conte comes up against a three-man midfield with a number 10 and a double pivot, he always wants to match it, with Brozovic and Barella creating that pivot and Sensi as a number 10. The big difference between Conte's Juve and Inter is the flexibility of their forwards. In Lukaku, Martinez, Sanchez and Politano, Conte has four completely different forwards. Martinez and Lukaku, of course, are out-and-out strikers, while Sanchez and Politano are more wide forwards. If Conte wants to pair a striker with a wide forward like Martinez and Politano, he can switch shapes mid-game to a 3-4-2-1, with a midfielder, often Sensi, moving up further forward. Inter Milan under Conte are a fascinating team. Their shape allows security at the back at all times, with three centre-backs, controlling midfield with three midfielders, and the speed of transition with two mobile wing-backs and, of course, two strikers. With Conte returning to Italy, Juve's dominance over Serie A could really be under threat. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Have you been impressed by Antonio Conte's Inter Milan? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Statman Dave. See you later. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?